Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I accidentally clicked space. Wait. We're live. Okay, cool. It's been a while. Happy Thanksgiving if you're Canadian. Hope it was as good or better than mine. Mine was pretty good. Had a double Thanksgiving. No big deal. Just rich like that. Even after a massive liquidation, still rich. No big deal. Anyway, no, I'm not really rich. Never was, never will be. But that's what we're working towards nonetheless. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. First of all, war in Gaza, that's over. Perfect. Good stuff. Thank you, Trump. Next off, we have this escalation in what's going on with China, or rather possible de-escalation. Who knows at this point? We do know tariffs are set to go in effect November 1st on China. Because of those letters that they sent out to all those other countries, Trump is trying to retaliate against that, having to do with the rare earth minerals and stuff like that. So there's that we have to kind of worry about. Later on, he came off as like the taco effect. Trump always chickens out. He came out as a bit soft on that matter, but now he's kind of doubling down. It's a whole mixture of things with this guy Trump. So this is the impact of what we're seeing in Bitcoin's price, right? This is when Trump announced 100% tariffs will happen, which that's an exaggeration. And if you look at every other altcoin, it's even more of an exaggeration with crashes that we have never seen in history. And then we recover when Trump says, yeah, you know what, guys, I think it'll be fine with China. There's no big deal, nothing much to worry about. And now he's like, actually, yeah, you know what, screw China. We're gonna probably do the tariff thing anyway. So we don't know what exactly is going to happen next. Always important to pay attention to Truth Social and keep your eyes glued on what this guy posts. That being said, let's get into the technical analysis. Just by the way, while I'm at it, we're also going to be talking about Binance, a lot of what's been happening with Binance, a lot of exchanges, listings, hold on. There's also more stuff. I don't even know. There's just so much to talk about. I might even push some stuff over for tomorrow. Or maybe I'll just get this an extra long stream if we've got enough people in. Probably gonna wait until tomorrow. Because there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff that we're looking forward to this for this month as well. What to expect until the end of the month. I have some trader insights I want to share. And yeah, so we'll get into all of that. Before we do, I'm going to do the YouTuber thing. Please remember to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I promise I will not beg after we hit 1,000 subscribers. That is a pinky promise from me. Actually, no, I don't even know if I would promise that at this point, because what if this channel continues growing and we're like at, I don't know, 99K and I'll be like, guys, please subscribe, get me to 100,000. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think we'll ever get that far. But for 1,000, I do want to get this channel monetized. Would be helpful. And also, you guys could, get donations. I would be able to enable that by that time. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Something like that is what the requirements are. I'm not a YouTube expert, but yeah. For the time being, this is fine. Just trying to help you guys with my analysis, give you some insights on what we're going to be looking into. That being said, let's just jump into it. 110,792 is the current price of Bitcoin. We're on the way down. Downtrend is still there. My average entry is 113,600. I do plan on entering a bit more, although not a lot. At the lowest point that we hit, 109,642. Just cheeky couple satoshis in there I'll be adding. And worst case scenario, if price does continue dropping, I'm looking at the 101,940 level. My entry's at 101,650. There's a pivot support, 101,359. And that I would expect to be worst case scenario. I'm pretty sure the bulls will not allow Bitcoin to go below 100,000 ever again. For this cycle, the whole cycle invalidates at 96,338. That level has been there for a very long time now. A couple of weeks, since like August, I've been talking about that level, 96,000. When we were originally on our way down the first couple of weeks, 3 weeks in a row there. Why did we even go down that time? I don't even remember. It was probably something irrelevant, but we're way far past that at this time. I think it was odds of us getting rate cuts from last meeting, right? It would have been that and maybe some macroeconomic factor, probably something to do with tariffs. I don't even remember, but hey, that's out of the question now. We overcame that. We hit a low of 107 overall. We hit our all-time high at 126,000, and in that same week, this is probably the most volatile week I've ever seen on Bitcoin, crashing from 126,000 down to 101,000, at least on my exchange, almost 102,000. That's about a 20% drop in that single week. So a pretty volatile week that we just went through, but now we are starting a new week. I think this one's going to be a little shaky. Things are still trying to, you know, get ready for the next move, so to speak. And I think end of this month will be what is most important. I don't know about the October narrative anymore at this point. You had your chance. You had an all-time high on Bitcoin. As soon as October started, we just started moving up. The narrative was really pushing things forward. I think we all kind of felt that. And even I was like, this just doesn't feel too natural. I tried to play it safe by exiting a bit early, which I did. So I was perfectly fine on Bitcoin. But when it came to altcoins, I got completely destroyed, as did literally everybody using leverage in altcoins. Nobody was saved. Unless you were maybe in Ethereum, Solana, maybe Binance, maybe Tron. Those were the ones that didn't drop as hard. At least doesn't reflect like that on my exchange. But the rest of them, you're gone. Nothing survived. So that's what my expectations are for Bitcoin, is just choppiness, to be honest. Nothing special. I know you guys probably hate to hear that, but it is what it is. From the all-time high, we do have a downtrend, sort of looking like this, which is what Supertrend is trying to correlate to. It seems like it invalidates if we do cross 117,000. This is still dropping as we speak, so I'm not going to give you an exact level until we get exact confirmation as to where that level may be. For the time being, immediate support, I'd say, is just 110 flat itself. So that's another level to be paying attention to for Bitcoin. 110. All right. What else do we got? Ethereum. We're right at the 4,000 mark. 4,001, 4,002, 3, on our way up a little bit. My average entry is at 4,055. Still dislike Ethereum. 3,644. If it does drop there, I have a trigger order. I don't think it will, to be honest. Same kind of expectation that I have for Bitcoin, is just choppiness, sideways movement for Ethereum until we get some good catalysts to help us rise a lot further. That being said, we still have a downtrend. It invalidates 4,389, which that's a pretty far level as a resistance. And we're hovering at the 4,000 mark, trying to, you know, make Ethereum seem like it's worth something at $4,000. Worst case support, we have actually a valid one. 3,370, 80, around that point. The lowest point that it shows on my exchange was 3,393. Support level from pivots for this week shows 3,366. We're about halfway through the week already, and the odds of that getting hit, we are technically in a downtrend, so if we do get rejection from this 4,000 level, like literally right now, we could see some continuation of the downward movement. Before we do hit that level though, the 3,000, sub 3,400, you're looking at 3,644 first, which that is where I have my trigger order available. For Solana, I actually took profit on Solana after I bought this dip. It wasn't this exact dip. It wasn't like I didn't hit exact 142. I had a trigger order at 140, and for that $2, it did not get filled. So I missed out on a huge gain on Solana, but still I made a decent gain. I took profit over here at 205. We hit a very recent high of 211 in the past couple of days. It has since then came back down. I had a trigger order right over here, but it did not hit. It's about to get hit soon, hopefully, at a 191. So we'll see if that does happen. If it does and it continues dropping, By the way, I don't have exposition to Solana, so that's why I have that entry at that pivot level, just to get some exposition, even if it's negative. It's not a lot. Then looking at 172.52, that is the support level from the lowest point that we reached after the initial major crash, which that's where I have another order of support right there. If we do break through that, you're looking at the 142, 143. Look at 143. That being said as well, we do have a downtrend on Solana that I will draw over here. It's a very long one. We might have another shorter one over here. Let me get this. Yeah, that looks decent. In terms of resistances themselves, we have 217 where the super trend invalidates, and of course $200 itself as your psychological level. We're like in the middle right now with the RSI, which is why I'm also expecting just choppiness in general. Even if we do slightly like break this above and then, you know, kind of hover around this area for a while, we're able to just readjust the downtrend like that if that is necessary, if that is the case. But till then, we need more data, more time to go by to figure that out for sure. Plasma has been going up. I read the news on why it was going up. I forgot why. But same deal here. I entered after the big crash, after getting mega liquidated on it. Like I was buying and buying and buying, and then it just did the whole crash thing. As it was coming down, I was buying, and yeah, nothing got saved. It is what it is. I rebought, I took profit today. Not a big profit either, but I plan on re-entering as soon as we enter the support area at 38. Current price is at 46, and I took profit at, what was this? Well, we hit a high of 45. No. The high was at 55. I probably sold at 40 something. But yeah, we're at 46. Basically where we are right now, maybe around that. No, even higher maybe. I don't even know. Check my position history. That's why it's there. 51. Almost 52. That's where I closed it out. So yeah, I plan on re-entering it still. I want to look up the reason why it was going up. I think it was a milestone. That's what it was. They posted like a milestone update where it was like, hey, we processed this many amount of transactions on USDT, which is just below, I don't know, Ethereum, Arbitrum, and whatever the other networks that you can send Ethereum with are. I clicked on the wrong one. Plasma. Why is it down today? It said it was up. Anyway. Milestone. It's gone. It's not even on here anymore. But when it was rising, that's what it said. Fading stablecoin hype. Oh, the issue with Plasma, though, it's not something that you're going to want to hold for a long time because I've read into it. It is incredibly inflationary, apparently. To see Plasma maybe hit these high prices ever again, possible with like a really good alt season, but like it's going to have to be a really mega alt season. On its normal case, I don't think we're going to see those high levels again. A lot of it was just exchange listings and like its ICO on a lot of other platforms. Not ICO, like this is just literally an exchange listing. The ICO came out a long time ago. From all-time data, like, yeah, this was existing since 25th of September. I have my chart even from before that, I'm pretty sure. 24 of August, 22 of August. So, you know, ICO is different. Exchange listings, that's something you could argue. Yeah, but it's incredibly inflationary, so I don't know for long term, but short term, it's really good for short term trading because it's such a volatile coin. It's moving these large amounts of pennies in a short period of time. So I like the volatility that it brings. It's good for maybe swing trading if you're interested. That's all I have for that. It's up 3.5% nonetheless today. The only coin that's just rising compared to the rest, so I decided to take profit on it. Solana, did I not just talk about this? I have short-term memory loss, evidently. BitTensor has been on the rise as well. Mainly had to do with like Grayscale planning to create a trust with BitTensor, meaning that maybe later that could be converted into an ETF, that kind of stuff. And BitTensor just genuinely a good project. I did not get into it on time. I got liquidated on it, and then I just didn't have the chance to re-enter, I guess. We didn't even get, like, oversold. So that was probably one of the reasons why I was like, why am I going to enter this if it's not oversold? I should have. It rose up significantly over the weekend. What is this? 60% rise? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We're on the way down a little bit, though. We hit a high of 478. We're at 408 right now. I have an entry at 300. If we do drop there, it's a major support. Psychological level as well. Down 10% today, but trust me, it's been rising a lot over the weekend. So good for BitTensor. I'm not going to be looking at all the other coins that I used to have, if you remember, like Cardano, Ripple. Maybe sometimes I'd have a look at Binance or some of the meme coins, Pengu or Pepe. I don't know. If you guys want me to like look into it, just let me know. I'll take a peek. But for the current moment, not interested. Not interested after getting mega liquidated. I got to be more selective, especially during this time, until I regain my capital and, you know, recover from that loss. I think it's recoverable. I've made that amount of money. I know what to do now and what not to do. I know what not to do, but I'm still going to do what I'm not supposed to do, if you know what I'm saying. That's with the stop loss and 3x leverage thing. I don't think we're going to get mega liquidated like this for a very long time. This kind of drops that we're seeing, the drop that we saw, I don't think we're going to see that for a very long time. So I'm going to call it now. I think it's safe to be doing the 3x leverage thing, even more safer than before right now, because now that everybody's leverage got flushed out, we're starting fresh on a clean plate, and you have more upside potential than downside. The only downside risk is that everybody thinks that alt season is canceled and the cycle is over. I don't think that. I still think we got it in us. Historical data proves it. And there are many reasons why we should remain bullish. A lot of ETFs still yet to come out. Rate cuts still yet to happen. And just general ecosystem growth, adoption, institutional adoption, government purchasing. I know it looks unattractive at these low prices, but in my mind, this is the opportunity. When people don't want it, you're supposed to accumulate. When everybody wants it, prices are so high that nobody is able to accumulate, and you should already have it by that time, and you should be taking profits by that time. That's kind of the mentality that I'm going with. If I'm wrong, so be it. Let me all go down with my cryptos, my imaginary internet money. I'll die happy with it. Anyways, moving on. Hyperliquid, my average entry is 38.39. Price is 37.37. We're at a pivot support level right here. I don't think I'll... How much do I have in here? I do have a little bit. If we do the thing where we drop to this low point over here, I'll increase my position. And I'm only going to be... Every time I'm doing limit orders, I'm putting 500. If I see prices are genuinely oversold, I'd be putting in thousands. If I want to enter because I want to enter, or I don't know, I'm thinking like ways to kind of improve what I'm trying to do with my strategy here. If I see, you know, prices are just going against me on a regular day and there's no big news event and I'm just negative in general on my P&L, I'll just probably add a small amount every day. Whatever the price is at, I'll just put a small amount in the market price to kind of just, you know, slowly reduce the average entry price, because just holding on to these for too long, probably not the wisest idea, and here's why. So, man, Hyperliquid had a bad crash too, from being 43 to 21. Not even 2x leverage could save you. Sui was worse though. We'll get into Sui next. Yeah, so anyways, I'll put a trigger order here. 35, 145, not averaging out the bottom, because I don't feel like I want to. Or maybe I should. Because what if we don't hit that exact bottom? No, but what if we do? We are in a downtrend. It seems like every bottom is going to be hit, whether you like it or not. And plus, I should put something over here before I get liquidated. And the lower, the better. If it hits, good. If not, good. I didn't want it anyway. Moving on. Sui, 267. We're currently at my entry price at 266. I have another trigger order available at 238, just averaging out this low and the pivot level. I figured, you know, I'll just put an average there. That seems like the more ideal situation, in my opinion, for averaging out your entries. So if we hit that 238, that's where we have a support. 233, I'd say 235 if you really want to average that out, is where we have a support. And then going lower than this, I doubt it. And this is another thing that I mentioned as well. Look how spread out these pivot levels are, especially on Sui's chart. You have a quote-unquote support at 233, and then the next one is just at something absurd, 96 cents. We're never going to hit that again. I hate to break that to you. So, but downtrend is there. 397 was our high. That's pathetic. We did not break $4. And I had a good chance of taking profits on Sui. I still regret it to this day. So, never mirror your bags, is what a lot of people say. Yep, this is the downtrend that most correlates to it. So, 306 resistance, $3. $3 is your resistance, realistically. Right there. We kind of hit that over here, actually. What was our high? 288. Why are you lying? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. 301 was the high. And I have this at $3. Perfect. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there with Sui. By the way, dropping to 56 cents. Like, come on. Come on. That's issues with the liquid exchanges, by the way. Sui did not actually drop to 56 cents. It dropped to like 188, which, yeah, I would have still gotten liquidated at 188, but 56 is just overkill. Or something around that point. I don't remember if it was exactly 188, but it was something like that. Same deal with Chainlink over here. Price is almost at my entry. 17.97 is the current price. I have another order at 16.73. These are very small positions that I entered. That's why I have another order. Like, it seems like immediately close. That's just to increase my exposition and even at a better price, because I wasn't certain as to where we would go from here. Were we going to rise? Which we did, but I wasn't paying attention. I was partying or something. And then, or are we going to drop? And if we do drop, I will not want to have a large exposition if that was the top wherever I purchased, right over here, right after the crash on Chainlink. But we did kind of recover over here, and we're hovering around this level, 17, 18. We hit a high of, what is this, 20? So that's pretty good. Nonetheless, I have a trigger order at 16 just in case, you know, kind of increase my exposition. And if we do continue lower, I don't even know what points to give you at the over here, because it's just like there's no floor. There's no chart history over here. If you really care, you would look at this pivot support, which I wouldn't even trust, at $10. We haven't seen $10 in a very long time, and when we did, I sniped that trade on the dot, and I'll still keep being proud over that one. Where is it? I think it was this one. Right over here. 7th of April. Was it that one? What is this one? I think it was this one, actually. 23rd of June. It was this one. We had a drop right over here. I put my order at whatever this low point was. 10.92. I think I had it at around that level. We hit exactly that and we took off. And I'm like, yes, I'm a genius. I sold early, though. I sold at like 16, I think. And then we just kept rising to like 27. That was my only regret, but whatever. It's a flex for the past. My last coin I'll analyze is Aptos. I had another trigger order filled. So now this dropped my average price to where it is now, 357. The current price is 352. Seems like we're still trying to head a little lower. We do have like actually valid support levels here, 342. And then it's looking at 295. I don't think we're going to drop that low. I'm also looking at a daily chart. And if you look at every other exchange, like, this is another thing I noticed, especially on spot. Let me find Trading View. If you look at like Aptos chart on just a spot provider like USD on Coinbase, for example, the drop that you see here went from whatever it was, $5 down to basically where we are right now, $3.50. Over here, it went from $5 down to, well, down to $174. Not the $3.50. Like, it doesn't show this candle wick, the scam wick that liquidated all the leverage players. That doesn't exist over here. The one, how much was it? 174. Like that would have been all the way down here, and you don't see a wick over here. Where's the wick over here? Anyway, scam. We all got scammed. I would not have gotten liquidated on Aptos, by the way, but whatever. I bought that dip, repurchased over here, repurchasing over here. Still have a lot of faith in Aptos. Think it will still do well, and I think it's a steal at these prices. So yeah, because I've been ranging along with it around the 430 mark. I remember this for the longest time. I did the right thing with taking profits here, but what's the point if I rebuy over here and everything crashes and I lose overall in the rest of other tokens? October 10 is a day to remember. In a bad way. It's supposed to give you PTSD going from now on. Yeah, that's what I've got all over here so far. World Liberty Finance. We have good news for it, but we're not pumping on the news, which is just awesome. Seems like people stop believing in the project. There's still good things coming out for it. What was it? World Liberty Financial. Leave. We're still expecting an exchange coming soon. The app, I don't know what the app is going to do, and a London Borrow. Competitors to Aave and stuff like that. Maybe even Compound, I think. Yeah, that's stuff to look forward to for World Liberty Finance. If you still have faith in the project and you trust that their governance vote will not include stuff like, should we release more tokens into the wild? Then I think you have a good chance of making a good return on World Liberty Finance. And if you trust the Trump family, of course, more than anything. Which, hey, at this point, Trump gives and Trump takes away. I'm at the hands of Trump. We all are. Anyways, we have, back to our news section. We have a confirmation from Trump that the Israel and Hamas war is finally over. He flew on Sunday, had the meetings on Monday, addressed everybody by then, and announced that the war in Gaza is over, and he's already back in the United States. It's official. Even the IDF has posted there are no more living Israeli hostages in Hamas captivity. That should be a clear indicator that they should stop the attacks and end the war. Trump posted on, oh, by the way, people were saying, where are the female hostages? Why is it only men? What happened to the females? What did Hamas do to the female hostages? Did they, you know? The answer is no. Apparently, I looked this up. Earlier in the year, there was a ceasefire proposal. I don't know if you guys remember, where they would release some hostages back and they would receive some hostages from the IDF. And in that hostage exchange, the first wave of it that happened many months ago, that's when apparently a majority or most of the women were traded off. And then they just kept these men, and yeah, at least these are the only ones that are alive. All 20 hostages are back and feeling as good as can be expected. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done, says Trump. The debt have not been returned. As promised, phase 2 begins right now. What exactly phase 2 really means, I don't know, but in my opinion, just end the war here. No, I think they still have to do like the you know, getting Hamas out of power, demilitarizing them basically, and you know, cleaning up the city, the rubble, with the help of all these other international non-biased groups, organizations to help with the aid and yeah, the cleanup, to try to make Gaza great again, I guess. And so that's good. Thank you, Trump. And this is the taco thing that we've been discussing. Trump posted this later on, right before markets opened on Monday. Of course, it seems like, I don't know, this seems to be all planned in a direct attack on crypto. What is going on? He announces the tariffs Friday after the markets close. Markets close at 4 p.m. He announced it at 5. And everything crashes at 5. Because crypto is the only thing that's open 24/7. Okay, cool, great. Now, what are we to expect? Markets couldn't crash. The US markets couldn't crash on Friday because it was closed. Monday is when they're going to reopen, and boy, will they will they be very down when they do open? Right? Wrong. Trump came to the rescue and said, "Hey guys, Trump here. Don't worry about China. It'll all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it." Yeah, the 100% tariff, I was just kidding, guys. So, yeah, imagine getting liquidated because of tariff fears on Friday, only to have it called off 2 days later. Safe to say that markets did not crash on Monday, and rather they were in the green. So, yeah, it was all a nothing burger. Thanks, Trump. JD Vance had some comments on the de-escalation with China, further reinforcing the sentiment. "We appreciate friendship Trump developed with China's Xi. Trump hopes US doesn't need to use leverage on China. We hope we don't have to use those tariffs. And Trump is willing to be a reasonable negotiator with China. So it looks like they aren't trying to be as hostile as expected. Maybe we misunderstood it because it was a Truth Social post. It was a huge wall of text that said China bad and 100% tariff, and everybody got scared and crashed. But it seems like, oh guys, no, it was just a joke. I'm kidding. Anyway, China did respond, saying that they will fight to the end if the US wants a trade war. Kind of the same thing that they've said in the past. Like I said, we literally had this exact scenario play out a couple months ago, and it wasn't as bad as we just saw it now. This feels like something else is behind it. Why did we crash so hard? Too hard. I feel like it just kind of caught everybody off guard, right? We felt like, oh, tariff stuff was something from the past. It was a thing from, Liberation Day in April. That's it. That's all. That's where tariffs started. That's where it died off. The 90-day extension, that brought us over to May, June, July. And then that got called off as well, kind of. And there were countries that were already making trade deals, and China was behaving, so things were looking fine. People didn't care about tariffs anymore until suddenly everybody starts caring about tariffs again. Maybe Wall Street was overexposed, but markets were closed. What? I don't know. Anyways, China says, if you wish to negotiate, our door remains open. Good. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are set to meet to discuss trade, a White House official has confirmed. We don't know yet. We don't know where exactly. Maybe at the South Korea summit thing, which, according to Scott Bessent, Trump is still expecting to meet with Xi Jinping in Korea. So, yeah, there's still reasons to believe why it shouldn't be as negative as we expect. Scott Bessent also mentioned that there will be a series of meetings within the United States just to talk about China's restrictions that will be taking place this week. The meetings will be taking place this week, not the restrictions. That's set to be November 1st, end of month, October. And Bessent has also said, I've seen numbers that this government shutdown thing that's still going on, by the way, it's hurting the economy by $15 billion a day. Come on, Democrats, do something. Anyway, so, and just to clarify things again, it seems like we're so over, we're so back, we're so over again, because Trump doubled down and just said, he verbally said, yeah, the US is at a trade war with China. Here's a thread explaining why November 1st almost looks impossible. A deal before November 1st looks impossible, and why that would be bad news. That's part of the reason why we are not fully back and pumping up yet. It seems like, oh, okay, we have until November 1st to kind of get a trade deal resolved with China here. Otherwise, everything is just going to crash. So we kind of don't know what exactly to do. That's part of the reasons why I'm more prone to believe that we're just going to have some sideways movement / downside movement until maybe the end of the month. Hopefully something comes up. Like I said, we need a catalyst. Yep, we did it. We announced a trade deal with China. We can pump again. Good. That would be the right way. But at this time, it's all just uncertainty. Markets dislike uncertainty. We see the fear and greed index at fear. We see the volatility index spiking. So those are indicators that it's we're not out of the woods yet. We got to play it safe. China just played its trump card literally. After Beijing announced new restrictions on rare earth metal exports, Trump fired back, threatening 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports starting November 1st. But here's the catch, that China actually holds the stronger hand. Okay. They control a near monopoly on rare earth metals, that's true. These aren't just minerals. They are the backbone of AI chips, semiconductors, electrical vehicle batteries, smartphones, and defense systems. That's why rare earth minerals are important, and Trump's kind of fighting to keep that, right? It seems like, just on a side note, Trump trying to end the Russia-Ukraine war, he wanted to take advantage of Ukraine with the excuse of, hey, you still owe us $200 billion, give us your rare earth minerals, and we'll help you with security guarantees, right? And ending the war. Ukraine refused, and they're still fighting each other with Russia. Okay, cool. The Venezuela thing. Trump knows that Venezuela is more prone to, you know, be partnered with BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and they likely have deals with them. They've got rare earth minerals, they've got oil, and what's the excuse that Trump is getting involved in Venezuela, trying to topple the Maduro regime, declaring war on narco-terrorism, on cartels, calling them, well, labeling them as terrorists, allowing military equipment to be used on those cartel members, you know. Is probably for other interests as well. And same thing with Ecuador. I'm noticing that Trump is also sending a lot of like weapons and things to the military aid, right, to help fight narco-terrorism that's happening in Ecuador, because this is like where I'm from, so I'm kind of informed on it. Not fully, because I don't always watch the news on it, but from what I understand, it seems like they're on the brink of civil war at this point. I don't know, president kind of corrupt or kind of doing nothing. They say they're trying to kill the president at that point. I don't even know. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. But anyway, it's just ridiculous to think about. Like, why? Why are they going after the president if he's literally doing nothing? Maybe it is because he's doing nothing about the narco-terrorism thing. But anyway, he's getting help from Trump with the military stuff, like I said. But it's not like Trump is just helping out for free, unless he's genuinely a good person. I'm pretty sure Trump wants something else from all these countries that he's sort of helping out. With Gaza, with the ending the war there, we know that Trump is going to be one of the leaders there when it comes to like rebuilding everything in real estate. He's seeing this kind of like as a business opportunity, is kind of what I'm taking away from it. I don't know. All of that was just huge tangent. Sorry. So yeah, China, they do have a good control of rare earth minerals and all that stuff. When China limits their exports, it hits the US where it hurts the most, when it has to do with technology and defense, right? What's our top company in the United States? Nvidia. They do semiconductors, chips, and they require all that rare earth mineral stuff. Tesla's a top dog as well, EV maker. It's going to hurt them. Trump can respond with tariffs, but those mainly hurt the US consumers and manufacturers, not China. Inflation will rise, supply chains will tighten, and the market sentiment will weaken. That's part of the reason why... Never mind. Why a deal before November 1st is unlikely. Trump cannot afford to look weak. China won't cave. This is a strategic leverage, not short-term politics, and both sides are locked in a power play. Unless Trump walks back his tariff threat, there's no off-ramp. The market view, it isn't just trade noise, it's structural tension. So rare earths power the industries driving this decade's growth, things like AI, electric vehicles, chips, and if the standoff continues, there will be production risk and supply pressure, which will cause short-term bearish sentiment for stocks and crypto. China struck first, Trump reacted, neither wants to blink. Between now and November 1st, markets will price in pain before any peace. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Good thread, thank you. And Washington Street Journal apparently reports on something that I suspected as well. The fact that China is intentionally crashing markets to gain leverage over Trump. It's just a theory at this point. No, but it seems like that is indeed the play, right? But I don't know. It was Trump the one that is putting in the tariffs. And it was Trump's fault, I guess, that we crashed on Friday. It was that tweet. But even before that, I talked about it before. World Liberty Finance selling off, Trump meme coin crashing before the actual tariffs coming out, meaning that either Trump insiders knew or China was mass shorting those coins, even though it's illegal. It's not, you can't trade crypto in China, right? Still, Bitcoin banned. I don't remember. Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he spoke yesterday and he had this to say. Well, he didn't comment on Bitcoin or gold at all. It was overall dovish what he said. It was good what he said at the meeting. I watched it live. Nothing but good stuff for the markets, right? He's talking about like the focus on the labor market and the fact that I have a post talking about it. He talked about inflation, thinking it is driven by fundamental supply and demand factors. Yeah, okay, we know that. And this was also important. He said the pre-shutdown data indicated U.S. economic growth may exceed expectations, right? That's good overall for the economy, but we still know that the government shutdown is still in effect. We do not have economic data. If the government shutdown carries on even till the end of the month, we're going to have to go with like, I don't know, kind of using our brains to make up what kind of data we're expecting the labor market to have. And with the government shutdown, there are labor cuts. Obviously, they're going to have to do something to stabilize the economy, which would be cutting rates, right? There was even talks about Trump sending stimulus checks. Anyways, all that is pointing toward the money printer, and that is a good thing. This was interesting. The U.S. government seizes $15 billion worth of Bitcoin from pig butchering scam based in Cambodia. Okay, what? But in Cambodia, okay, I have a lot of questions. A pig butchering scam? What does this mean? Anyway, and in Cambodia, what is the US government doing in Cambodia? And why are they using Bitcoin? And why do they have so much? How much is 15 billion Bitcoin? $15 billion in Bitcoin? 15 billion. That's billion, right? Divided by the price of Bitcoin is 111,000, let's just say. It's 135,000 Bitcoins. That is a lot of Bitcoins. I love how I'm actually understanding the Bitcoin units now. Like, I know MicroStrategy has 600,000. I know the US government has 200,000. Does this mean that this gets added to the Bitcoin strategic reserve? They have 200,000. 200,000 plus 135,000. What is that? 300,000. We'll just round it. 300,000. There's plans by Senator Cynthia Lummis, which she's still working on it, guys. We got to be patient. A proposal to make the U.S. government buy more Bitcoins. I have some thoughts on that. Remind me, bear market. They're planning to do 200,000 Bitcoin per year for 5 years, which totals up to 1 million Bitcoin. With the amount of Bitcoin that they already have, 200,000 plus this, 100,000 extra, that would mean 1,300,000 Bitcoins. They would hold a huge supply. A huge percentage of the Bitcoin supply is what I'm trying to say. Even more than Satoshi himself. Which is crazy. If that does play out. Anyway, back to the Cynthia Lummis thing. If she does get this bill passed, she's still working on it, when will it pass? I don't think the US government is going to want to buy Bitcoin at these prices. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, but they're planning... Okay, I see. They're planning to do it every year for 5 years. I guess that kind of... It ruins my argument. My argument was they're going to wait until everything crashes and there's a bear market for them to start buying. Right? Wouldn't you want to do that if you were told, hey, here's a lot of money. You decide when to buy Bitcoin. When would you buy Bitcoin? Would you buy it right now? I wouldn't. I'd probably wait till we actually get a bear market when sentiment is really low. But then you have the argument of like, will we even ever get a bear market ever again? Because we have such strong fundamentals. It might seem like right now we are not going to have a bear market, but when it does come, you would look back and be like, yeah, what are we on? October 2025? Everybody was bullish. there was many reasons to be bullish, but now in, I don't know, October 2026, yeah, everything's kind of, old news now. We've kind of priced everything in. People have already took their profits. We're just exit liquidity. That's where we bought too high. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that will be the sentiment in a year. We'll see. Anyways, moving on. Speaking of MicroStrategy, here we go. Have they reached 700,000 yet? No. 640,000 Bitcoins is what they have. They purchased another 220 Bitcoin, which that's not a lot of money. 27 million. They can do better. They usually do hundreds of millions. They bought right before the crash, which is unfortunate. 123,000 average price. That sucks. You could have bought it for, I don't know, sub 110,000. But whatever. You do you, Michael. Thanks for always buying, though. That's good. Hey, they didn't buy too much either way. I wouldn't either. Like I'm saying, would you buy Bitcoin at these prices? Probably not. If you're going to plan to, like, only buy once and hold it for a long time. I mean, if you're holding for a long time, any price would be good. You know it's going to go up. Coinbase will be listing Binance Coin. I didn't know that they did not have BNB listed already. Seems like they got pressured into doing it, and it mainly has, like, the source of it comes from this tweet. Jesse Base ETH, this is a Coinbase developer, I think, talking about it should cost 0% to be listed on an exchange. This guy Yazan says, so why don't you list BNB then? Well, they're competitors, that's probably why. Unless BNB, which is the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap, gets listed on Coinbase, your opinion of how another exchange should list cryptocurrency is meaningless. Lead by example. And even CZ tweeted the raffle emoji. So, yeah, Coinbase actually saw that. They paid attention. They're like, okay, yeah, you know what? They're right. Who are we to be telling other exchanges how to do their work when we're being hypocrites over here? So yep, Coinbase did the thing and they listed it, and now Yazan is like, hey, look, I can now proudly say that I got BNB listed on Coinbase. And there you go. Coinbase Markets put the assets added to the roadmap today, BNB. The launch of trading for these assets is contingent on market support and sufficient. Okay, cool. Thank you, Yazan. He got BNB listed on Coinbase. Crazy. Speaking of listing fees, I guess that was another topic for today. I just forgot to title it, but whatever. On Hyperliquid, there are no listing fees, no listing department, no gatekeepers. Spot deployment on Hyperliquid is permissionless. Anyone can deploy a spot asset by paying a gas fee in Hype. Deployers can choose to receive up to 50% of trading fees on their spot pairs. Everything is transparent and verifiable on chain. The full DeFi lifecycle includes building a project, launching a token, and trading that token. Every step of that journey can be done permissionlessly on Hyperliquid. Other exchanges, I don't know why this just became a huge talking point. The listing fees, other exchanges came out to say, yeah, we do have a listing fee. Mexi came out to say that, the co-founder of it, she mentioned it. I forget who else, but yeah, other exchanges. Oh, apparently Binance asks for 50% of supply and a leg. I don't know if this is a joke. This is Mercury after all. All right, cool. After we're blaming Binance now. After Binance causes the biggest liquidation event in crypto ever recorded, we're now seeing it at an all-time high. The industry is not serious. Well, there's a reason for why BNB has been hitting all-time highs still, even after the big crash. Today we're down, but we did hit another all-time high. 1,375, ladies and gentlemen. BNB is on fire. So Binance is injecting almost $1 billion back into their ecosystem. The other exchanges, they're keeping silent or blaming others for their mistakes. The blaming others, especially coming from Alex, this guy's very pro-Aster. It has to do with Hyperliquid. Of course, they're rivals. He's going to like indirectly blame Hyperliquid for it. So keep going BNB is what he says. He's really like, really, how do I call it? I don't know. It must be paid by Binance or Aster or something, because he just loves it. CZ posted, talk is cheap. $283 million compensation on Binance, $45 million recovery airdrop on BNB chain, and the 4 meme. If you don't know, Binance memes got completely rugged at one point, very recently, even before this crash. So he's also talking about that. Another $400 million recovery airdrop on Binance to protect the users is what he said. I'll talk about this later. And it's real. People are getting airdrops, literally 1.75 BNB, which would be almost $2,000. How can anyone hate what CZ is doing for the community? This has literally never been done before. I degen hard on chain, so it feels good to finally get something back. Big thanks to CZ and, yeah, Binance. So there you go. Binance did launch a $400 million support plan to aid users and institutions that were hit by recent liquidations. They're kind of giving back to the community, and people are thankful for it, but other people are skeptical. 100 million compensation, 45 million airdrop, 400 million support plan. What is this guy scared of, right? Eligible affected users will receive token vouchers worth $4, or is it $4,000 to $6,000? While institutions hit hardest by the crash get access to a $100 million low-interest loan fund to restart trading. Okay. $100 million low-interest loan? That's pretty good. But how will you ever pay that back? You better have a good return on investment. I would not trade with borrowed money, even though I'm a hypocrite. I do that. What am I talking about? How did other exchanges react to the biggest crash in crypto history? So Coinbase was completely silent. They also had issues, by the way. Hyperliquid, ADLing everyone and pointing fingers. I talked about ADLing on Hyperliquid. I didn't specify what it means. It means auto deleveraging. Basically, to help the exchange remain solvent, they will like trigger a liquidation on your deleverage, right, on your position. Changing your liquidation price to something more reasonable, or making you lose some but keeping your position open and pushing your liquidation price at a different point. Like I said, to keep the exchange liquid and solvent. Because we didn't see that happening with these ones, although I do have like an ADL indicator, right? Auto deleveraging. Did I say anti-deleveraging? What am I doing? I'm thinking of Anti-Defamation League, aren't I? Yeah, so there's that to kind of help you measure the margin that you have on your positions and to avoid them from being liquidated, whatever the case may be. Binance, though, he's saying it has extreme accountability, almost to a fault. There's live announcements, refunding their customers. So, of course, he's very happy with having BNB. Another exchange, if you guys are not aware, that is also helping out the affected users from that liquidation event is BitUnix. I recommend you try getting in contact with the support team if you did lose money at 5 p.m. October 10 Eastern Time from that liquidation event. If you tried accessing it, you couldn't because the exchange literally crashed. It went like, it stopped working. Server error. Nothing was working. I saw it myself, and I do have funds on there too, on BitUnix. So I did reach out to the support team, and they're working on looking through all the transactions. You have to give them like your UID, the transactions ID, and stuff like that. And it's good. I'm happy that they are like actually going through to help out the users. So shout out BitUnix for doing that. No KYC exchange, by the way, really good. Anyways, this guy, this brother, Sunusi Danjuma Ali, he discovered a huge balance in his cryptocurrency BitUnix account. This is just more of Good Samaritan stuff, not necessarily the liquidation thing. He got over $135,000 just randomly. He explained that even though he has worked hard for BitUnix, he immediately realized it must have been a system error. He just randomly got $135,000. So instead of attempting to withdraw the funds, he chose the path of honesty and quickly contacted the BitUnix database team in Africa, as well as their official Twitter account. They confirmed it was indeed a glitch, and he asked them to rectify it. So there you go. What would you do if you had 135 grand on your account? Probably steal it, wouldn't you? I know you. No, but this guy did the right thing, I guess. It was a system glitch. He decided to give them back to BitUnix. Good. Maybe that was supposed to be for my funds. I don't know. Anyway. More issues with Binance, by the way. Binance wallet users were seeing $0 balances due to network congestion on BNB. Binance says that was just a display lag. It will be resolved soon. Another thing was Trust Wallet also showing $0 balances, which has to do with Binance as well. Many reports are suggesting it's a backend error. Assets remained seifu. People were panic tweeting about it, but then they realized, oh yeah, never mind. They deleted their tweets to not increase the FUD The funds are safe. And even CZ has replied saying that Trust Wallet, it is a self-custody wallet. There's nothing stored on the server side. So even if the servers disappear, you can always check your balance on the blockchain using Block Explorer. You can also import your keys or seed to another wallet. So, there's no issue with Trust Wallet. You're still safe to use it. And they also acknowledged that they see some users not seeing their balances in their Trust Wallet due to a market data sync issue. But please rest assured your funds are safe. And they said it's been resolved either way. So all good from Trust Wallet. But issues with Binance, man. Here's another one. The liquidation cascade on Friday was a coordinated attack that began with a USDE, Athena, depeg. Okay. The attack occurred on Binance. The depeg only happened on Binance. For the record, a depeg is when, a stablecoin, right? Always supposed to cost 1 USD, or depending what the stablecoin is from. Issues with depegging have to do with, anything that's wrong with the algorithm. You're never going to see this happen with Tether or Circle because they actually use US bond treasuries. They're backed by like actual assets, right? That keep the price at $1 all the time. But when it comes to Athena, they're using Bitcoin and Ethereum as collateral, not like US treasuries or bonds or none of that stuff. So it's fully decentralized, right? Because they're not using actual fiat currency to represent a fiat currency. They're using Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. The depeg was only possible because of issues with Binance's pricing oracle. Binance controlled the vulnerability and the attack vectors. They also knowingly had poor pricing controls around USDE and margin collateral. The timing of the attack around the Trump posts was cover. Interesting. It's my belief Binance carried this attack out themselves in an attempt to cause an industry-wide mass liquidation cascade, but the ultimate goal of destroying Hyperliquid, it didn't work. Crazy. And then they posted this as well, that Binance covers a $283 million in user losses after its tokens depegged on Friday. There were other tokens too that use Binance. You literally look at USDE. Like, it dropped to 66 cents. It's not supposed to do that. It's always supposed to be at $1. 99.9, whatever. So, yeah. Here's a crazy story that just happened today. PayPal. They have a stablecoin too, by the way. They became the richest company on earth with $300 trillion in assets only for about 20 minutes until Paxos, the provider for the PayPal stablecoin, burned the $300 trillion PYUSD stablecoins that were just minted. Everybody started panicking maybe a good way when this happened. Even the whale alert posts was like $300 trillion was just minted at PayPal USD. And everybody's like, what? Who even has that money? Not even Elon Musk, 500 billion, has $300 trillion. Not even the US debt, 30 trillion, is not that 300 trillion. Where did this money come from? What just happened? Like, what? And yeah, you would literally be the richest company in the world because Nvidia is only 4 trillion. Only 4 trillion. What are the numbers that I'm saying here? 300 trillion, guys. But then it must have been an issue, is what I'm interpreting from this, because they later burned it. They disappeared that money. It's crazy how you can just mint $300 trillion in a stablecoin. What if you withdrew that? What would you do with that money? I would pay off the US debt because that's just a lot of money. It's free. And then that's it. I'd probably, I don't know, have a steak at a good quality restaurant. Anyway, everyone saw the 300 trillion Pi USD minted and laughed it off as a software error, but timing and patterns matter according to this guy. I don't know if I trust this guy. This happened within days of PayPal's liquidity partnership. Spark had a $1 billion injection and the public realignment of PYUSD with tokenized treasuries. There must have been a conversion bug right as the system bridges stablecoin supply into tokenized T-bill backing is not an accident. It's an echo of the new rails syncing for the first time. Tether, Circle, PyUSD, they are petrodollar equivalents. Okay, you lose me here. That 300 trillion print wasn't random. It was a representation of the liquidity ceiling of the new hash dollar network. PyUSD backend its Paxos regulated, NYDFS compliant, and US controlled. Okay, I don't know what I'm reading at this point. So when an on-chain display shows infinite mint, what it really betrays is that the issuance layer is now programmable liquidity that can be expanded digitally without physical extraction. The petrodollar once required in oil barrels. The hash dollar required compute and collateralized stablecoins, but the bug was the moment the refinery came online. PayPal will re-rate to $100 ASAP. What? What did I just read? Anyways, this is the thing that came out. It was pretty cool. Whale alert. 300 trillion. You would think this was billion because there's just so many zeros, but yeah, it was trillion. It was minted of PYUSD. It was done by a Paxos address, created and burned 20 minutes later. 300 trillion minted on your bearish. Funny. Yeah, crazy stuff. Eric Trump, for World Liberty Financial, confirms a plan to tokenize real estate with World Liberty Financial. I think the UAE already does this with XRP Ledger, I think. But hey, we're getting it on World Liberty Financial as well. Tokenize real estate, if you care at all. Another announcement for World Liberty Financial. Apart from the exchange, apart from the app, apart from the stablecoin that they have, and apart from the lend and borrow, also tokenizing real estate. So they've got plans for the future. It's the Trump family. They're businessmen. They want their thing to improve. It's just that they'll dump before something crazy happens, which, like, come on. First dump, by the way, I got liquidated. And then second dump, I did not get liquidated miraculously. But, yeah. It should also be a good indicator from insiders at the Trump family of when something bad is about to happen. If you see World Liberty Finance alone crashing before any major news event comes out, you know it's about to get bad. Note for the future. If you care about the altcoins, if you were wondering what else to enter, I guess, focus on the ones that have ETFs that are yet to come out. Government shutdown is delaying a lot of these ETFs. SEC is not working. They can't approve it. So I know we've got a lot of dates on this month, October, for ETFs to get approved, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get them at those expected dates. Might be delayed. Will be delayed. Solana ETFs are pending, even though we have Rex Osprey out with staking, by the way, if you care. SUI ETF pending, XRP, Aptos, Avalanche, BNB, Bonk, Cardano, Chainlink, Dogecoin, Hedera, HBAR, Litecoin, Move, I've never heard of that, Trump coin, the meme coin, Polkadot, Pengu, Say. Cool. The only ones that were approved were Ethereum and Bitcoin. Ethereum staking is in the process. Oh, I skipped over XRP because it's just so irrelevant. I skipped talking about the fact that Rex Osprey also has an XRP ETF available. And same with the Dogecoin ETF. I forgot about that. So we technically do have those, but they're from a very low trusted, low company. Like we want BlackRock to be the one, or Grayscale, even though they're pretty bad at ETF management. But yeah, we want the big names to get these ETFs approved. What I focus more on, well, there's no BitTensor ETF. That sucks. I'm happy with the Chainlink ETF, SUI, Solana, of course, Aptos. I'm starting to hear more positive stuff about Avalanche. Maybe I'll cave. Chainlink, of course, very important. And that's all I really care about. The rest of these are good as well. I'm fine with Hedera, Litecoin, Pengu, Say, Dot, sure. And BNB. I don't know about BNB. I feel like there's just too many options at that point. Pick the more important ones, which, in my opinion, SUI, Aptos, Solana, Chainlink. That's it. Those are the only ETFs I would really care about, like actually care about. Like I will jump up and down in excitement when they do come out. But we'll see. Canada news, I guess. Mark Carney says that Toronto will receive 60,000 new homes at speeds not seen for generations. I'm getting a phone call from British Columbia. Decline. Big news, Toronto. Canada's new government is making big upgrades in infrastructure that will enable more than 60,000 new homes to be built. We're getting the housing supply up so your cost comes down. I hope so. Didn't they announce a plan? What was it? What was it? Like 4,000 homes with $3 billion? It was something like that. And if you did the math, it was crazy. Oh, they left a voicemail. Stop it. Get out of here. Sorry. We're going to build homes we've not seen in generations. Oh, he's taking Trump's rhetoric here as something we've never seen before. You know when Trump says that? Yeah. Mark Carney's been hanging out with Trump for too long. You saw him at the Gaza talk, right? Okay. I have to get off my phone. Anyways, yeah, that was our last bit of news, nonetheless. Overall today, down day, sideways day, kinda. Expect more sideways movement. We do need more time to continue. Focus more on Bitcoin if you do care. I'm not doing the right thing, but I'll take the risk anyway. I'm on 5x leverage on Bitcoin. But that means I get liquidated at 90,000, 92,000, something like that. And if I do, the bull cycle will be over. I will be the first to admit, like, if we crash below 96,000, fine. Bull cycle is over. We all start shorting. And screw ETFs, screw quantitative easing. We're done, right? I don't think that's going to happen, guys. Come on. We've got so much good stuff to prepare for the end of the year. ETFs coming out. Money printer. It's going to be great. Oh, I needed that sip of tea. What is this? Oh, downtrend. Yeah, so fear not. Maybe is the time to enter. Maybe. Not necessarily. Like, I really would focus more on, like, checking RSI levels for major cryptocurrencies if they're good enough to enter. If you care at all, you can go to CoinAnk, check the RSI heat map. If you don't want to go through every chart individually, you click on this and it'll tell you what's available to buy. Whatever's in this green, like hard light green zone is RSI below 30. Fetch right now is free ATH. I don't know what this is. You're going to notice that there's nothing really to buy at this time. Who cares about Fetch AI? Seems like a dead project. AI projects seem to be really not talked about as much anymore. I read that on a market report. I'm going to share it tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll share an exclusive VIP market report that actually gives good insights on what happened and what to expect next. We've got a lot of token unlocks and stuff like that to talk about. Right now I'm way over time, so I'm going to end the stream here. What to expect for this week? We were not getting any economic data. Fed speeches. Look how much economic data is just pending that we're just not going to get. All of this stuff because of the government shutdown. Yeah, really nothing important at all. These are weeks in advance, but, you know, maybe we're expecting government to be back by then, but I don't think so. Depends. If Scott Besson is right, we are indeed losing a couple $1 billion every day because of the government shutdown. Fed interest rate decision that is happening on Wednesday, October 29. The Fed is going to have to make a decision. They're an independent organization, so a government shutdown does not impact them. That is why they're constantly making speeches. That is why Fed Chair Powell is constantly yapping. But, yeah. They're going to have to make a cut. The odds of it, the percentage, it's still really high. Like, we're above the 90s for a rate cut in this upcoming meeting, October 29. Load 95%, and then December 94%. Guaranteed 2 rate cuts. Guys, come on. You're bearish? All right. Yep, that'll end the stream for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, I'll remind you, like, subscribe, do that, all that good stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow. There's really nothing going on, but we'll see what news we get to cover. There's still more stuff that I didn't really get to cover in this stream that I guess we'll talk about in tomorrow's stream. Wasn't as relevant or as urgent to cover, so but it's still important nonetheless, so stay tuned for it.